Do you set them up?
Yeah, you can put on like anything you like. So like Jono was on yesterday and he's a big Essendon guy. So he's got the bucket. And then you can like fade him in and out and shit. Man, it's fucking that good. Alrighty, welcome to episode 2 of Potty Magic. So I've got my first guest in today. I'm super excited because we were just chatting just before. Like, we know each other and like everyone that I've got sort of coming on, I know them from somewhere, if you train them or whatever. But like, you know, we'll chat about stuff. But the things that I've got written down today and the questions I might ask him, it's not stuff that we're just going to sit down and have a chat about, which is cool. So I'm actually really excited to hear a bit more backstory and everything to everything as well, which would be good. So my first guest, he played for Gold Coast Suns and Fremantle Dockers, 144 games combined. Is that right?
That is correct.
That's right. Kicked 170 goals, and I think the most impressive stat, the only person ever to have actually vomited inside the Body Magic gym. The only
I still hold that record, do I?
The only one. Please welcome Brandon Matera. Thanks very much for joining us, Brandon.
Yeah! Love it. Thanks for having me. Excited to be the first guest too.
Oh man, I'm super excited. And like me and Brandon, we know each other from, I went to school with your brother Bailey.
Yep.
And thank you very much, Bailey, for sending in a couple of things that we're going to talk about later on. They were very good. Thank you. But we started training with each other maybe 3 years ago.
Yep, I think it was my just end of the first year at Fremantle.
At Freo, yeah.
Going to my second pre-season.
So I knew Bailey, and I started doing some work with a couple other footy guys. But you were like my first current AFL player that I had that then opened the doors to all the other fellas that I got. So I think so much so that this was after grand final.
Yep.
Just gone in Perth here, and we're out. I can't remember the bar. We met you at this bar, and you came running up to me, and you went, "I made you! I made you! Don't you forget! Have me in a headlock! I made you!"
I think we got about 15 blokes from Fremantle coming down. So
man, you were my recruiter.
Got it from everywhere. Melbourne.
He started with Brandon, then because you were living with Sean.
Sean, that's it.
And then Sean came along, and then sort of Blake came along, and then sort of got introduced to all those guys, and just sort of flourished from there. So very much so. Everything. Oh man, honestly, like in absolute debt.
I remember coming to the first one, and I was like, I'm never going back again. It was so hard. And that was the first when I first split, I think. And I was only halfway through the session.
Man, it's right where the table was, right? So we're doing. I wrote up some like workout on the board. It was like you had to finish it all in the time. And it wasn't even long in. It was about 10 minutes in. But I think you'd had a pretty big 6 weeks leading up to that. It was a pretty fun off season, I think. So.
Yeah. I think a lot of vodka sodas were out there.
And he was in the corner just and he gets about, I was like, "Come on, Brandon, lunges. Here we go." Fucking, you're like, "Alrighto." You got about 3 lunges in the middle of the room and just projectile. It's vomit all over the floor. And it was literally like, I've had people vomit before, but never inside the gym, man.
It was a hot day. It was 40-something degrees.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
It was due to come.
Oh, that's good. Well, no, I've got heaps to chat to you about because obviously you had 144 games. That's a lot of games to be playing in the AFL. And then you're at sort of a couple of different clubs as well. You played with a few different coaches, which I'm very keen to hear some of those stories. A little bit about your personal life stuff as well, which would be good. And obviously you come from like football royalty here in Perth, so we'll get into that as well. But Brandon Matera joining us for our first guest on the Potty Mag podcast. Let's do it. So the first game was, I guess, just a little bit of a get-to-know-you game that I've got for everybody else. It's Is It True game. So I had, like I said, your brother Bailey sent me through some good ones here.
Yep.
So all you have to say is if any of these questions or rumours are true or not true. Okay? Alrighty, so real easy. So is it true you bought a dog, Pablo, a French bulldog, that he only lives one day at your house? You take a quick little Insta story, and then the other 6 of the week is at your mum and dad's. True or false?
It was probably true earlier when I was at footy, because it was hard because I was always away every second week.
Yep, makes it. And then it's so fun to go to mum and dad's.
It is.
And as long as you get the quick.
He just doesn't like being alone. So
as long as you get the quick Insta story with him on, then you're fine. Then
get the likes.
Yeah, cool. All right, so true that first one.
That was true.
Nice one. So question 2. I know you're big into your horses. Is it true that you're a part share owner in the Sydney horse, the Guru?
The Guru? No, I wish so. I did get a nickname one day from that.
Right. So I don't know the backstory to this. Tell me the backstory. What's that?
No, it's probably not for air. That
We'll talk off air. All right, cool. Question 3. Did you recently win a golf day?
We did, yes. Me and my brother down at Subiaco.
Subi,
It was actually pretty funny, actually, because we were both pretty hungover from the night before.
Right,
and
gotcha.
It was at 8:30. Actually, we got a message in the morning at 8 o'clock saying you started at 8:30 now instead of 7 at 9:30. So we ended up getting there at 9. But yeah, we halfway around, we were probably 3 over, and then we heard the winners, or the leaders were only 1 over. So we're like, oh, we could probably win this.
We got this.
So we really knuckled down in the back 9.
But Bailey also reckons that he carried you through 17 of the 18 holes. Is that correct as well?
No, his driving was good, probably. But my putting was on.
All right, question 4. Is it true that you spend more time watching Married at First Sight and Survivor than what you do looking after your dog Pablo?
Married at First Sight has come on this year.
Well, mate,
probably because my missus has really got into it.
Oh, it's the missus. Oh, sure it is.
I'm a Survivor man, and I love the video that you did. I think it was a year ago.
Yeah. Man, I've been watching SAS Australia. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I never really got into it though.
I'm loving it.
I remember doing one up at Gold Coast. I think it was our first camp, and we did a sort of SAS sort of style camp. And we didn't get fed for 2 days. And
that's fucked up.
Sleep deprived. And
wait, so was it in Queensland they took you?
Yeah, we went up to... So we got a bus from Gold Coast to... Got to get it right. I think it was Maroochydore.
Yeah.
Maroochydore. And we got there. They said, bring what you want.
Yeah.
Well, they gave us a list what to bring, and then bring you whatever your snacks and that on the side.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get there, they put us in a room, get us in a circle.
They've just said bring snacks.
Bring what you want to eat. Like,
okay.
We didn't know what we were going to get. Anyway, we get there, they get us in a room, put us in a circle, and the SAS bloke just comes in and is like, strip down into your jocks. Like, oh, shit. So we stripped down, pull your bags out. Everyone pulled our bags out. And he's like, right, get your list out what you bring. And it had like your clothes that we were allowed to bring, your torch and all that. So we had to put that in the bag. Anything else that wasn't on that list
wasn't allowed
got put in the middle. And the coaches ate it. The SAS bloke ate it. And I was just like, all right, put your backpack back on, put your shoes on. We're going for a run. And it was like 7K run. It was like 3K there. And it was just on this beach.
And this is just straight into it. As in, like, obviously, you didn't know that this was going to be an SAS camp.
Had no idea.
At least I think the contestants for the show maybe know that they're going into it.
But, it was just the worst thing. So it was run there, into these beach, like, exercises, had to swim in our clothes, weren't allowed out, run back. God. So it was like 7Ks. And then we thought we were almost done. And then, like, we did another activity back at the hotel. And then we got given $7 each to buy our food for the night.
$7 each?
But we were in groups, so...
Right. So you could, like... bring that together to go. Yeah,
okay. So we went and bought our stuff, and Dave and I were pretty smart actually because we were living together.
Yeah. So this was Dave Swallow.
Yeah, we were rooming together that night or that camp. So we ate all our dinner and stuff. I can't remember. I think we bought a chicken, a couple of loaves of bread, some milk, stuff like that because we thought we were having breakfast as well. And Dave and I were pretty smart. So then that night we got put to bed. I think it was like 10 o'clock, and then the fire alarm goes off at 2. Up we get. Put back to bed again.
Hardcore shit. And how old were you at the how many years?
18. So this is our first year.
Oh my God. They've ripped you from your home.
Oh.
They've flown you over to Gold Coast for a new fucking team, and then you're stripping down in front of the coaches, and you get my God.
It was unbelievable. And then that was pretty funny because then we got woke up the next day again at 5, and Dave and I were like, we had the leftover bread from let's just have some toast in case we won't be fed today. So we had toast, and then we got down there, and all we had for breakfast was milk, almonds, and eggs.
Wow. So on the real shred, hey?
Yeah. So we got into that, and then it was a full day of activities, no food, actually, until about 3 o'clock, and they gave us like sheep brains, liver.
Full Liver King shit. Have you seen that Liver King on Insta? That massive. I have to show you some of his stuff. That's all. Yeah.
So it was the longest day. I didn't eat any of that, and then it was that night. They took us out. Actually, we got a proper feed, so they took us to a RSL. I think we got got a food, so steak and that.
It's traumatic as shit.
But then the next day, we get woken up at 5. Actually, I'm lying. So that was the last day. So that day when they woke us up at 5, they put Inglourious Bastards on, and they were like, all right, everyone take notes. No one's allowed to fall asleep.
Take notes.
And like boys were like falling asleep, and they just hit you on the head, like the SAS bloke was hitting you on your head, waking you up, and you're watching.
Oh my God.
And they're like, make sure you take your notes all day because we're going to be testing you. What happened? And they didn't ask us one thing. It was the worst thing. So
it was
a big probably, what was that, 30-something, 40 hours of
That is so
torture.
crook. Oh my God. And that's like, and like I said, they've just drafted.
That was what I was like, I can't do this again.
No. Is that you'd be going? I don't want to go back.
Nah,
like,
I think a lot of the older players, arced up about it.
Yeah,
I think Gaz was one of the main ones, which was good. So we never
Yeah.
had one of those camps again.
Yeah, good.
So
Yeah, that sounds traumatic.
that was full on, straight into it.
That
So
does sound fucking full.
probably
on.
brought us together a little bit because we were all going through it.
Yeah, well, it does, but doesn't. But
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
does,
I mean, there's probably other things you could have done, like a fucking meal down the pub that probably would have.
I just that's what I say.
just
The
as
bonding,
much.
the more bonding camps are the better ones, I reckon. But
Yeah. That
was back in the days.
Wow, that's fun. I don't reckon they would. I don't think
No,
they
you
could
wouldn't
do
be
that
I don't think
now.
you're allowed to do it no more. I think I don't know what happened on that
Because
Adelaide
Adelaide
camp,
one,
but
they did
yeah.
one, same sort of thing. But
Something's happened,
but
yeah.
obviously all the other clubs are probably doing something similar where they were like,
Yeah.
we're going to do some hard shit together and whatever. Yeah.
You could do hard training. I've always thought hard training. We did one on the Gold Coast actually in my last season.
Yeah.
And it was an amazing race. And that was good
That
fun.
was sick, yeah.
We just pulled up in a bus, same thing, to a oval, had a running session. I think it was like 20, 25 minutes or something. Got back on the bus, pulled up at this random lake. And it was like swim, follow like the clues around the beach for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was actually good fun.
Well,
it was hard though.
I guess the other thing is it's kind of like different people are going to respond to different things as well.
yeah.
So like, okay, you've got how many guys are there? 35, 40 or
Yeah,
something?
40,
something
48
like that.
on the list stage.
Right, so you've got all those guys. There is no way that type of SAS discriminate is going to actually be beneficial to probably half of them.
No,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
So, yeah, right. Wow, there you go.
Yeah, so that was a full one.
That's a full-on one. Wow.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
So
Like,
fair
welcome to
enough.
the AFL sort of
Don't
thing. It was
watch
like,
SAS
nah.
Australia. That's it. We
don't get it. I just feel
completed
sorry
it.
for 'em.
Yeah, completed it. All right, we've got question 5. Is it true? This one's about your physique, actually. Is it true that you're currently 80 kilos?
Yes,
or?
I'm on the 80 kegs.
80 kegs.
But actually, yesterday on my way in after training, I
Yeah.
was back to 78.
Oh,
so there we
sure.
go. So
Good session.
We
Good
did a little
session.
heat sauna, heat chamber yesterday, and I
Got it under.
the day before.
Yeah, keep it
so
bounced
I'm
under.
feeling
That's
it.
nice. That's nice. And question 6. Does your lovely partner Sam dish out better sprays than Ross Lyon?
Yeah, I've had a couple of her. Yes, I've had a couple of her, but Ross's were probably a bit more
Oh,
scary.
yeah, I'm super keen to hear some Ross ones a bit later on. We'll get to that in a bit. But just on Sam as well, I'm sure she'll be an avid listener
she'll be
of this
watching this after,
of this
sure.
podcast for sure. You guys just got married not too long ago?
Yes, yep. And a little baby on the way too.
I
now,
know. And
so
is it boy, girl?
girl, yeah.
Cool.
So
Sweet.
over the moon. Not September, so she'll be a finals
Fantastic.
baby.
Oh
so.
man, how exciting is that? That's so sick. Sort of like, I guess, like going back before your actual like AFL playing days and everything, just sort of like your early years and growing up and that. As we mentioned before, you come from like real football royalty here in Perth. It's kind of like, I was trying to think of like a comparison. It'd be kind of like the Selwoods of, like the 80s, 90s football and early 2000 football, really, wouldn't it? Like you've got your dad, Wally, so he played for
was
West
the first
Coast
one,
and
Fitzroy.
and then you got your Uncle
Peter.
Phil.
Peter was first.
and
Yeah,
Phil.
he was 90 or 80. He would have been 90s, I think he started, Peter.
Yep.
And then Phil would have been about 95.
Yeah,
6 maybe.
And then sort of like as you're growing up, was there kind of like a bit of, I guess, like pressure to get to the AFL level, or was it something that was always in your head that you always would wanting to get to, or sort of like, what
I just always loved footy.
Because that's like a very unique thing to have 3 big, icons of football here in WA.
Probably when I was younger, you don't really even think about that. Like,
Yeah.
yes, I went to the games and that, and I was pretty lucky enough to go down the change rooms
Yeah.
and see Peter and Phil.
Yeah, it would be sick.
Down the rooms and get your handful of lollies after the games.
Yeah,
and that. But I was, I didn't really.
But I guess the other thing, like you just said there, because you've grown up with it, that's your normal as well. So someone like me, where my dad wasn't an AFL footballer, you kind of go, oh wow, that one must have been so different. But I guess for you, that's just what it was.
Dad was never forced me to play footy. He was my coach in Auskick and Auskick, because then I went up to under 9s halfway through the second Auskick season. So he was never coached. He was always around and always lent on him, and he always never tell you had a really good game. It would be always something you could improve on and for the next one. But he was obviously the biggest mentor for me and impact on my career. Even when I was playing at AFL level, we'd always have the phone call after the game. And,
that's awesome. And I guess it probably helps having people close to you like your dad, or people in your corner that have been in that environment and that system and how it works. And they sort of know how you're feeling, if you've had a good game or if you've had a bad game or whatever it might be. I guess they can sort of be they can relate to whatever you're going through.
Exactly.
So
And Dad's was a bit different because he was still working at the time when he was playing.
of course,
at
it was
AFL,
it was like a
second job.
Yeah, it was like a semi-professional thing.
And then it obviously changed with Peter and Phil. And Peter, he gave me quite a bit of advice, but Phil's probably been the closer one since my later part of the years. And but yeah, it was pretty cool to say my uncle's played for West Coast.
Yeah, it's wicked, eh?
But then saying that, I didn't really think of ever playing for West Coast. It was just it would have been awesome to be drafted there.
Who did you go for West Coast?
No, I was an Essendon supporter.
So
I was a member for about 8 years, I think.
Yeah, right.
Essendon. So Marnie brainwashed me pretty early, and James Hurd was my favourite player.
Yeah, wicked. Have you ever met James Hurd?
No. When I was a young kid, we used to go get the signature. That was the only sort of time I got to meet him. But I used to go to all those Bomber things. But Bombers were actually pretty good when they played in Perth. They always put on clinics and stuff.
You can come and watch them train and all that sort of stuff.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. So that was the only really time I got to meet him.
Yeah, sick. Oh, that's cool. Nice one. And then, so from that, so you played... Well, you were actually like an underage recruit for Gold Coast,
yes.
were you? Because that's when Gold Coast... It was like 2010, 2011?
I think this talk started in 2008, 2009.
Right.
I moved up there in the end of 2009.
So how old were you when you moved there?
So I was 17. So I remember, it's a pretty funny story actually. I was we were in this under 18s and I was having a pretty good carnival actually.
Yeah.
We had a good team, so it was...
Of course, just chopping up.
I don't think we lost. So I think we had 14 get drafted out of that.
Wow.
Out of that,
That's huge.
Out of that team. So, and that was with Dave Swallow and Jack Darling, who were the following year, but still... We all part of that team. And
that's a stacked team then. I mean, that's half
so then
the
we had
team.
like Morabito, Fife. It was, Duncan. We just couldn't lose.
Yeah.
And
so did you guys win that carnival?
Yes, we won.
Yeah.
And
that's huge.
So
I mean,
it was
beating
huge.
Victoria,
it was,
that's
played,
mental.
We played South Australia, beat them, and then we had Vic Metro was the next game. And I actually had a car accident on the way to work that day. So I was left school when I was 11.
Yeah.
11, in year 11.
Yeah.
And started a tiling apprenticeship.
I'm going to say, if you left at 11, that would explain a few more things.
But yeah, so I had a car accident on the way to work on the Tuesday. And I didn't want to tell anyone. So,
of course.
Were
you hurt, or was it like what sort of crash? It
was. If you saw the photos, it was a pretty bad one. It stopped the traffic. But yeah, it was. I just can't remember it, really. I just blanked out, and next minute I was in put in an ambo.
Oh my God. So you're actually taken away in an ambo?
Yeah. I remember actually called Mum. Mum was in an accident, and like the ambo was right next to me. He's like, put your phone down, like we need to get you out. Got out. And then he's like, well, couldn't remember what happened, but apparently the guy just reckons like hit, because we went like sort of head on. Yeah. Just reckons I was looking to the left and just don't know. So don't remember anything. But so that happened. Then we played on that weekend, Vic Metro, and I got through the fitness test on the Friday. So I don't know how I got in, but yeah, it was one of my better games. So probably good not thinking about it. But so then we won that, and then I was at work on a Monday after our third game. I think we played in Melbourne, and we come back and we went back. I was back at work, and there was a article on the back page of the paper with me saying, could be one of the picks going to Gold Coast. And I was like, gee, this is a bit weird. So, Mum, have you seen the paper today? You better go read it.
Wow, and so you've had no correspondence at all from Gold Coast or anyone? Nah.
So Mum and Dad go get the paper, read it, and then that day I get a phone call, or Mum gets a phone call from a manager that ended up being Colin Young. So he wants to manage me, and Gold Coast are interested. And then that weekend we played... I think we played Vic Country over in Melbourne. We come back, and then I caught up with Scotty Clayton, which was the Gold Coast thing, and it just happened so quick. It just
happened, wow.
And I was like, I was a bit nervous at the right, and like a bit scared because I was like, it's only 17, and they want us to move over. This is probably September, October.
But at the same time, it's like your dream. So it's and it's straight in.
And Bluey was pretty good, Guy McKenna. He said to me, just come over. There's going to be 12 years. Come over and just treat it as a camp for 6 to 8 weeks. And then you can go back. If you don't like it, then play a year out over here, and then we'll pick you up next year. But once you got over there, got to meet the other 12.
Well, exactly. As soon as you're there, it's like I used to work at a pet shop, right?
Yeah.
And they had, the dogs out the back. The whole thing was someone's looking at a dog, get the dog, and they go, just hold it. Before you, no, we're not going to have it. No, just have a hold. You have a go, that's the same thing. He's just put the Gold Coast puppy in your arms and just gone. Yeah.
And it was unreal. It was the best thing ever. Got to meet all the younger boys, all the 12 boys at
And then 17. Who were and those lads there, I imagine they would have been the guys that you were probably best mates with as well, just because you're around the same age, you were
Yeah,
Probably
because
a lot of you from
they had the
WA as
VFL,
well.
they had the TAC Cup team. They played the year before, so they had that team. Then they pulled us 12 in,
Yep.
17-year-olds, and then they had a couple of recruits, which was like Danny Stanley, Sam Miles, Daniel Harris came played. So that was like the team. So we had like a good bunch of 50 there, and it was like once you met everyone, it was just like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Staying here.
100%.
Got big. Like never done gym before, and
Yeah, just
I think I was
smashed
drafted at 62.
Well, I guess you've gone from... And what were you doing for work before that?
I was at Tyler, so I
Tyler,
left it.
right.
I was 2
Have you
years
finished
in.
that, or you didn't bother
No, I
finish it?
didn't. I
Didn't bother
did
with
2
that one?
years, or year and 3/4 before I got picked up.
Yep.
And then I went over there, and I did a day every day off of the week.
Mm-hmm.
I did it for about 8 weeks, and then
Went, fuck this.
I just couldn't walk the next day, like because
Yeah.
like you're like a labourer, they just pick the time.
One day's work, and he's absolutely had it. He's gone, that's it.
So I just couldn't keep up with the training. The other boys were still there was about 6 of them that were still at school, so
Yeah.
they probably had it harder. They had to go to school every day and then train in the afternoon by themselves. So
Yeah.
that was pretty funny, going having lunch, taking them Hungry Jacks for lunch.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sitting
That's
them
cool.
having lunch at their school.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's sick. So, so those boys were, so just run them through. There was Dave Swallow.
Dave Swallow was wasn't part of them, but they said they're going to pick him up at pick 1 next year.
Yeah.
But
So just quick, just how that happened with that draft. So it was the following year that you're actually eligible to be drafted. Is that right?
That's right.
But because they were the new team,
they had
were
a conversation of 12 picks of 17-year-olds.
Right,
So
and then you're in that, and
We're
that
in
was, and you're supposed to be the next year.
next year's draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of an advantage. I think GWS had the exact same thing as well.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think there's only. I don't even think there's one playing at the moment.
Isn't there? Yeah.
Nah, we've all gone.
Yeah.
So
well done.
Trent McKenzie. Trent McKenzie's
Yes,
still
yeah.
going, and he's
Where's
at
he now,
He's at
Paul?
Port Adelaide. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. And then when you got asked by Gold Coast to come on over and it's the new team and everything, was there any sort of, because it's obviously a new team, they haven't quite got maybe the history of what the other teams are, you're not quite sure what it's going to be like, it's a new, it's in a non-football state. Was there kind of any reservations to go, do you go Gold Coast? Do you hold back and see if you can get somewhere else or anything like that? Or was it when the opportunity came up, were you like, yes?
Well, like I said, I was nervous and didn't really want to go.
Yeah.
Because obviously it was just opposite side of the country.
Yeah.
But Bluey, he'd come over, and it was back when they played that Legends game where the Eagles played the Owls versus or whatever it was.
Yes.
And I got to meet him there for the first time, and he pretty much said to me, if you don't come this year, we're going to pick you up next year. So
Anyway,
you're better off coming over and doing a year and getting your body built up and be able to play some footy. And he was pretty good. He's like, you can go home whenever you want.
Yeah.
Because we were playing in the VFL. So I think I only played probably 9 games and got to choose 3 or 4 times when you wanted to go home. So it was
pretty flexible and probably a good scenario to go into, especially like you said, when you wanted to come home and you maybe weren't quite sure. It's your first team and first experience.
So it was pretty good. So they sent me home for my 18th.
Yeah.
And then they got mum and dad to come up there as well, and then went home for my mate's birthday. So
Yeah.
it was good. So like they were pretty good with us, us 12, that team.
Yeah.
In that year, because we had a lot too, so they got to play. A few
Of
players.
course. And then like obviously early days when they're building that side and everybody's around the same age, I imagine there would have been some pretty good stories around that in terms of like, I'm sure you played for couple of different coaches up there as well, but then also Gold Coast is a wicked sort of party joint. There's 12
like you said, fresh 12, 17-year-olds.
What do you think's going to happen?
It was actually good fun. It was, we didn't probably do too much the first year because we're obviously still 17 and stuff. So it took a while for us to all get 18. And then Bluey put on a big party at his house actually and had all us 18-year-olds. We're all spread over the year, but he had one big party for us at his
once
house,
you got the taste,
that was it. And then we started going to schoolies for 7 years straight. No, it was good. It was a lot of good fun up there. Like I said, and I lived with a group of 5 of us in a household for 3 years, 2 years, and that was good fun. Not that it was like a party house. It was just like something happening all the time.
Yeah, but it's exactly right. But also you only know really. The only people you know in Gold Coast are the people that you're playing footy with.
That was right. We didn't really have any mates outside of footy. Which was, it was good. So we were all sort of stuck together and, travelled to GC, got down to Byron a few times.
Yeah, sick.
But yeah, it's a good place to live. It
Yeah,
is really
I imagine.
good
And
lifestyle.
was it sort of with the fans and everything at Gold Coast again, because it was not really a football state? How was that?
It was completely different to Perth.
Because Perth, it's
they
like,
don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Halfway through, probably 4 years in,
were you kind of wanting a little bit of that, of people knowing who you were a little bit, like straight
towards the end of that time at Gold Coast, or my time at
You
Gold
get a
Coast, you
little,
started to get a little bit, but it was nothing like Perth. Like you'd walk in and they're like, "Oh, they're the Freo boys over there."
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
you
yeah,
can just
yeah.
see them already talking. But on the Gold Coast, I got probably 10 times where I got free drinks because some bloke thought I was a rugby player. And it's just
Fantastic.
like,
That'll do.
mate, Danny Evans, yeah. So I finally got to meet the bloke at the airport, and we do look pretty similar. So
Yeah, sick. So who was the player you reckon you looked
Daly
like?
Cherry Evans,
Right.
which is a really good player. I think he's the captain of Manly at the moment.
You'd be
So,
taking that.
Yeah, State of
Absolutely.
Origin. So
Beautiful, mate.
bloody oath, mate.
Multi-code.
Oh, no,
yeah.
couldn't believe it. Even one of the Gold Coast Titans called me that once, and I was like, it's not me, mate.
That's awesome. How good's
So,
that?
yeah, no.
And then you coached, you played for
Guy
Bluey?
McKenna,
Yep.
yeah, Bluey. He was my first one. He was there for 5 years, I think we had
And he
him.
was like you sort of saying before, he's probably been good for your development.
Yeah, he was really good. And then
everything.
they got Ken Hinkley in behind him in our VFL year, and I had a really good connection, and he was like a really big mentor for me early on. He was a hard coach, and like because he was our forward coach, so I had a lot.
He
to do
seems
with
like
him.
a real sort of like hardcore,
He
old
was
school kind
He
of.
was,
you know.
yeah. He had a bit of fun though. Like he was fun until it got time to really knuckle down, and he'd let you know where you stood in that, which was good. And so we had him there, and we lost him in 2013 to go to Port.
Yeah.
And then I think Bluey, we had one more year with Bluey, and then Rocket come along for the last 3.
Yeah.
And he was a bit different to.
What was Rocket like?
He was hard, very hardcore,
Hard,
like
yeah.
real.
Just like we're
the old
gonna
school.
sort these young whippersnappers out.
Yeah,
here.
he come in and really made a stand. But like you said, he got the best out of me my last year.
Yeah.
Last 2 years, I had 2 good pre-seasons under him, and probably, he made me work for it the first year. And but in saying that, I played my better footy in the last 2 years with him, and that was probably my better years there.
Yeah, wicked. Yeah, cool. And then were you on the receiving ends of any good sprays with him? Was there anything that?
Yeah,
you
I got
ticked off
one.
with
I
him
got
out?
suspended 1 week off field, which I didn't think I should have got. I was just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah. And what was that?
It was my housemate Harley went out drinking.
Yeah.
And then it was one of the boys broke up with his long-term girlfriend. I think it was 6 or 7 years, and struggling a little bit. So I went around had a drink with him, and I was home by 8 anyway, and the got to the next day recovery, and Harley rocked up drunk, and it got out that I had a drink too. We weren't allowed to drink that day because we played Saturday night, beaten Brisbane, and he's like, let's just have a drink Saturday night, but no drinking Sunday. So
it was more just like just because you had a drink, wrong place, wrong pipe,
Wrong play, yeah. It
wrong
shouldn't
time, and you were just there, and it
And
wasn't
it's
like you're having a big sesh. It was just they're having a casual one.
But so then walked in Monday, and Rocket had heard about it and pulled into the office, and it was 2 of us. I think it was Trent went in first, and obviously tried to plead the case, and I got in there, didn't even get pleaded case, it was just
No words.
just the spit.
You're already
Just coming at me.
just showered
Right,
as
it
soon
was
as you came in.
Just walked out, and then I messaged him after. I was like, mate, can we catch
With a
up?
towel, wiping
I
it all off
was
your
just
forehead.
like, can we get a smoothie tomorrow? Went for a smoothie, and that didn't work either. So it was good though, but that was probably the worst spray.
And I guess the other thing is like as soon as with a coach like that as well, I imagine with the coaches now a bit distant as well. So like as soon as like maybe you're on the back foot with them a bit, like you probably have just alluded to there, it's probably quite hard to get back. Good terms.
It took me a long time to try and win him over.
Yeah.
It was probably my next pre-season, like where I went, put it my all, did everything, didn't miss a session, I don't think, and that's where I started getting a bit more credibility from him.
And then you went, fuck yeah, I'm out to Freo.
Yeah. Well, he got sacked actually. He got sacked with two games to go. But I remember messaging him like after the game or that week saying, "Hey mate, sorry to hear what happened. Thanks for everything. I know I wasn't your favourite player, but you made me work for it. But maybe a better player." And he goes, "Didn't like you, but
That's what it said.
But he was joking. He was like, yeah, never liked you, but nah, really loved you by the end of it. And we ended up having a drink that weekend.
cool.
So, no, it was a really good...
It was good.
Yeah. It was
and
a really
like you said, it probably made you a better footballer. And,
definitely.
And for that couple of seasons where you really had to work for it and put in that little bit of extra, that was probably the little wake-up call and everything you maybe needed to take it that next little level.
Exactly. And then coming to Freo, it's completely different. You get another coach and different philosophy and different running style. So when I first got there, my first year...
And then when did you get traded to Freo? That was
2017. That was I didn't get traded till the last 2 seconds of the trade, so it was a long week.
I just watched that. Have you watched that one?
I need to watch that.
You have to watch Show Me the Money, the documentary.
Yeah, I need to get on
Colin Young's on it.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing. It's like up to the deadline, and they're phoning and
just don't understand. I'm sure they can just get it done.
Fuck man, I was just going. It feels so like just rushed.
Yeah,
and I go, why aren't they talking to? Why aren't they in constant contact with each other, and why is it coming down to the wire? And then the player doesn't know, then the manager doesn't know, but the club doesn't know. And it's just like, who the fuck is like...
Yeah, well, I started trade week off in Melbourne, so...
And did you want to come back to... Was that your choice, or was that just how it worked with Gold Coast, and you were happy with that? Or what was
it was hard to leave Gold Coast. I think they just went a little bit younger, and I had a better offer from Fremantle for 3 years. I think Gold Coast offered the year at the start.
Yeah, they came to you with an offer for Freo, and then that's what appealed to us for the trade. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So that came about, and then sort of having to tell the boys over there was probably the hardest thing. Literally.
I can imagine. Well, like you said, you've just gone
so
through,
close to everyone.
You've been through the fucking SAS with them together.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
You've done all that building work, and such a new thing for you as well.
It was hard. So that was probably the hardest thing I've had. Having to tell, I remember sitting down with Tommy Lynch and Dave Sly, and literally we just cried. We was just in this room, and just like, I didn't know how to say it, but they all understood and everything like that. And it was a great club, Gold Coast. They did everything for me and gave me a shot at what I wanted to do. So
that's awesome.
But so then coming to Freo was completely different. Like talking about trade week. So I was in Melbourne for trade week, and I think it was day 2. I caught up with Ross, and he took us out for dinner with his mates, and he was his mate was the Carlton recruiter, so he was on the phone the whole time, like doing trades. And I think it was the Bryce Gibbs trade actually, and that got done like the next day. So I was like, they're going through.
This is easy. Yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow.
So 3 days in, I was still in Melbourne, hadn't done. I was like, I got to go meet Mum back at. She come over to help me pack up and everything. So we're packing up. I'm packing the Goldie. Guess the day, like the last day, still hadn't been done. I was like, ring my mate, what is going on? He's
so
like, mate, it's going to be done.
the boxes.
All packed up. Ross is like, mate, it's going to be done. Chill. Just get on the flight. And I'm like, anyway.
I've packed up my house. I've given somebody else the keys, and now I have to stay here.
Last minute, still watching it. And then finally, Gold Coast and Freo walk into the room, and it gets done with the last 10 seconds.
That is unbelievable that you don't even find. Oh man, that you don't even find that out.
I was watching it literally on the laptop.
That is so funny. They don't even give you a call to say that that's what's happening.
Colin kept saying, mate, it's going to get done. I call him each day, like, it'll be done today. Not done. And then it'll be like, it's going to get done tomorrow. And then that day was just like, it'll be done the next hour.
Stressful, man.
It has to be in the next half an hour. And then he'd be he's like, I'll call you back. Calling it, and then he's like, it should be done the next 2 minutes. And then it was like, and I was thinking, where am I going to go? Like, I'm not going to get here.
I'm going to be nowhere. I'm going to have a whole bunch of boxes at the side of the Gold Coast Boulevard.
Because I left the next day, I think it was. Yeah, everything was packed up. Car got taken that day, and it was full on.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's nervous times. Yeah, so then you landed, you came back to Perth. And would you move back in with your mum and dad? Did you have your own place?
I did move back into mum and dad for about 5-6 weeks. That was hard. It was good. Obviously, be back home, but it was hard being back where mum and dad, because I hadn't been with them for 9 years. That was pretty hard. But then I think it was after probably 2 weeks of training, Tommy Sheridan come up to me and was like, I'm friends with Mickey Barley, and I hear you're a good bloke, so let's just move in together.
Perfect.
All right, perfect. So, and then I was
easy as that.
Yeah, and Sean was my locker buddy, so he was looking for somewhere to live. So like,
perfect. 3
of us, let's go.
Excellent. So it was you, Tommy, and Sean.
Sean, yeah. And we found a house in Bicton.
Nice.
It was a pad.
Sick.
Pretty good pad.
Sick. Yeah. Sick. Some mischief up in there, I can imagine. Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of card games, actually.
Heaps of card games?
Yeah, Tommy's really competitive.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't go to bed until he won.
I imagine he would be talking shit as well. He'd be a mad
It was. I remember the nights we'd be like, get to about 7, he's like, right, let's go to Coles. So we go to Coles and we just buy bags full of lollies and chocolate, because we just didn't know how long we were going to be playing for.
Yeah.
Because Tommy would not go until he won.
Yeah. Wicked.
And so, yeah, we'd be there. Some days we were playing until, 1:30 at night. I'm like, Tom, we can't do this.
You're done, bro.
I'm so tired tomorrow.
Nah, chase the loss.
Come on,
chase
one
the
more.
loss.
I'll put 50 on it. Come on. All right.
That's awesome. Oh, cool. And then, so when you got to Freo, were you pretty much straight into the team for Freo then? Like you were straight into the 22 as soon as you got there?
Yeah, I did actually. I think I played 19 games my first year. So I was pretty lucky. But yeah, it was like I said, it's that new coach, totally different styles and trying to learn how they played. And then it was they're like different fitness sort of levels as well, where Gold Coast I was running 13, 14 Ks, where Freo didn't really wanting me running that many Ks, but quicker.
Yep.
So trying to have to adjust my body. And that's when I think you came into in that second season, learning how to get my repeat efforts up so I could keep going. Because I remember they used to put your GPS up on the board after training. You'd be like, I've only got fucking 3% high speed. That's what they're going high speed now.
And how much
small
percent were
forwards
they
had
wanting?
to be like over 10%.
Gotcha.
And I could never get it. And I was like, how do I get this? But then I was watching like Hayden Ballantyne and Sonny Walters and how they went about training, and they would just like kick a ball and sprint to the cone. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I've got to start
That's how you do it. Yeah,
That's how we do it. But it took me ages to work out.
Of course. Well, it's just a new system and everything as well. And you're trying to, like you said, just work out exactly what the parts that you're needing to work on and do and to get the result that they're wanting you to get.
Yeah. And it was sessions like training, be like, finish training, and like, trying to right. And then Ross would be like, come with me. Come with me. And he just put me on the assault bikes. 2 4-minute efforts.
Oh, my God.
Shit. And
so
he
would take you and do that.
Yeah, he took me over and goes to the fitness bloke. I want him to do some assault bike. And then he would come there and sit there and stand and watch me just do 20 on, 10 off for 4 minutes. And I can't remember how many calories you get. You get about 80, I think, 80 calories in that time. Yeah. And then he's like, you got to beat it the next one. And he just, I never got it, but like, you'd get close and and you'd be spewing your guts up. You think you haven't just done
that's just what he wanted, yeah.
But then again, so then that's when you come involved, and that second pre-season, I really
smashed it. That one,
and I just sprinted to everything. Just
we did probably like 8 or 10 weeks worth in your off season when you were coming a few times a week, with all your other stuff you're doing as well, and then we're just doing all this extra bike stuff and gym work and jumping around stuff, whatever. And then you came from that one. And you absolutely smashed it that year. You did so well.
That was my best year. For us.
Absolutely. From like round one, it was just in a way. It was so good.
No, that was fun. That was a fun year. Yeah. So, actually, I missed round one because I got suspended in the pre-season. But coming in, I think it was round 2 or 3. And then just having a stint of like 10, 11 games, I think, didn't miss a beat. I think I kicked probably like 20-something goals. And awesome. Yeah, it was actually good fun. And then, I was on Ross's good side.
Yeah, good. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, I think that maybe says something that obviously he really valued having you on the roster. If he's telling you, all right, we're going to go and do this extra fitness stuff and fucking physically walking with you over there to do it. Yeah. I don't know, did he do that with lots of guys or that was... He
really worked guys hard and that's a lot of sprays he gives you is always meaning well. Like, he took the amount of, like, he'd spray you at training, but then he'd tell you after, like, what it was about. Like, this would make you better. And like I had a few chats with him in his office, and he always had weird things to like
pick apart.
Yeah, how he tells the story. So like mine was like there's a fleas in a jar. So if you put fleas in the jar with the lid on, and you take the lid off, they still go to the same because they get conditioned just to go up and down like that.
Right.
So you got to take the lid.
So you
off.
got to take the lid off, mate.
Jump. So that's what that was.
So you were the flea in the jar.
That's what it was. So you had to take the lid off. So that's what it was. It took me ages to work it out. I was like. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. There you go.
But he was good.
That's good. We'll get into a few more Ross stories in just a second.
All right.
I've listened to Michael Barlow speak, Tommy Sheridan speak on different podcasts and everything, and they always talk about Ross's meetings and the meetings at Freo, and he just loved to get everyone in, and there were some pretty iconic stories that I've heard in some of their ones that they've told. Was there any in your time that kind of stuck out, or...?
Every meeting, going to Ross's meeting was scary. Just not knowing that, he did pick on some, but I think I got
Who did he pick on?
Ed Langdon is one. Right. Apparently Lockie Neal was one before I got there.
Yep. Both gone from Freo now.
Darcy Tucker used to get a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and Darcy Tucker is the nicest.
I know, and he's so quiet.
Most quiet bloke.
You feel sorry because like when I got there, we got given diaries, and I think it got better when I got there. I think when back in the day when they were going through that finals, and when he had that that mature team,
Yep.
I think was pretty ruthless, like
Yep.
the meetings and that. So I think I got told it definitely nothing like when I was when that year it was. But yeah, when I got to Free, we got given a big diary,
Yeah.
and I was like, what's this for? Like, I don't need a diary. They're like, no, you need to take it into the meetings, like write stuff down,
Take notes.
take notes. And I was like, I've never really taken notes before, but anyway, I would take it in, and Ross would go through review, and he'd go through all the parts to it, scores from 50, defensive 50, mid turnover, all that sort of stuff. He'd go through all your stats, and then he'd play the vision, and it'd probably be only about 10 clips or something. But it was the next day where you come into the meeting and it'd be like,
What I say yesterday.
It'd be there was a big jar up on his desk, or like near the projector, and with everyone's name in it, and he'd just put the hand in. Ed, what did we go through yesterday? And he'd be like,
That is fucking terrifying.
give out like an answer, and it'd be like, oh yeah, Brandon didn't come forward to defend, which made this and this happen. And he goes, yep. Grab another one.
He's probably forgotten what he said in his own meeting. He's going,
Grab another one.
I probably said that.
And then grab another one, and then it'll be like, what was another one? And then it's the answer, and it'll be like, yeah, and what else happened in the clip? Were you watching it properly? And it was just like, oh, shit.
Man, I feel like... So
please don't pick me. And everyone's like, it's pretty funny, because like you get to the club before you go into the meeting, and everyone's in their book just like reading. And
having it just to catch up, just a quick revise.
It was scary. And then like, you changed up some days, you'd walk in and he'd be like, all right, Lee Spur was pretty good. It's like, Spur, get up and go through the review the review.
Yep.
So you'd go through, and clip 1 we saw this, clip 2 we saw this, and like you'd have to tell every clip. He was like, thanks mate. But then some blokes just didn't know, and like just like sit down, get someone else up. It was actually pretty. And if you didn't know the answer, you'd get a big stare down. There. It was,
So I can't literally imagine any other workplace except for a football club nowadays that you could probably get away with talking to your employees like that, and running teams and everything like that. Literally, unless it's a football club, could you imagine if you did that in like an office somewhere? You'd be fucking cancelled, man. You'd be fired.
You always, it was a scary place when he was around. But in saying that, he was fun as well. Like not a lot of people don't see the fun side.
Oh no, I've really, when he said, I find it really funny. Yeah. And the analogies of flea in the jar and everything,
mate,
fucking funny. It's just like a good way of putting it as well.
Yeah.
It's just not good analogies. You go, and the other thing is you remember
it. Yeah.
So like, if another coach sat down and probably said, you have to do better and do this. That goes in here and goes straight out the other one. But you remember the flea in the jar.
Yeah. So I'll never forget that one. But yeah, he had some good sprays, and I copped a few. I remember one. I think it was my first year. And I think it was probably around 5 or 6, and we played GWS in Canberra, and we just literally walked in the meeting, and I was undoing my shoelace, and then I started cramping my other foot, and he doesn't like you touching, like you have to be watching, you had to have our eyes on him the whole time.
Yeah.
And I started cramping, and I was like, I couldn't get it off, and I couldn't stop it, so I was like, and I was in front row, like and he was just writing on the board, so I was like, quickly try and undo it and get it off, and he's just caught me, and he's just, do you think you had a good game, do you? I was like, oh, no. And he was like, tapping the ball. Do you see Toby Green tapping it? Doesn't he just pick it up and run and kick the goal? And I just started going off, and I was like, mate, I'm just cramping in my foot. I'm not trying to say anything.
It was all those fucking assault bike sessions that you just put me on. I'm cramping up a storm in here.
Well, he stopped the whole thing and just give it to you.
Fuck, that's awesome.
Oh, it was pretty funny. Oh, it's funny after, but at the time,
you're like, oh my God, you're going, why is he talking to me like this?
Like, it happened all the time. I remember in training, and like, if one of the boys didn't come forward, and he just like, run a 400. Jesus. And he'd just run, and he'd be like, start the drill again, and he'd be still watching you running to make sure if he
just an absolute hawk.
It was so funny.
Oh my gosh, that's full on. That's funny. So you how many games did you actually play for Freo?
I think I played 101 for Gold Coast, so what's that makes it? 34? 34?
Yeah. Something like that.
Oh, 44. Cool. So 43.
And is there any one particular game that you go, that was my best game? Like, what was the
best game? Well, the Freo ones, I reckon, were in my second year. All my whole second year I thought I played a pretty consistent year, I should say. good game. GWS game was probably my best one. I think I had 14 and maybe 20. 4 goals and 20 touches.
Yeah.
And I had a couple of those at Gold Coast as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But all the wins really stand out. I think playing at Gold Coast and not having so many wins.
Oh, so when one came through, it was awesome.
It was
sweet.
Fun.
Yeah.
And then coming through, I don't think we didn't have too many wins either. So I was, never got to play finals. So nothing of those sort of big games stood out. But any game where we had a good crowd, like Optus Stadium, playing in front of that was unreal.
Awesome.
And then I remember our first game at Metricon Stadium against Geelong. That was huge.
That was awesome as well. Yeah.
Carmichael kicked a goal and it was
going off.
And there was only like 15,000 or 20,000.
Were you playing the game where he kicked the one after the siren?
Yes, I kicked it to him.
Did ya?
Yeah.
Fuck.
That was actually pretty funny because that was the game I thought I'd get dropped.
Oh, and you just hit him perfectly.
I'm giving you one more chance. Don't let me down. I was all right.
And then silver service.
Play one of my best games.
To K Hunt. Bang. Yeah.
I wanted to have a shot, but as I picked it up, it cramped. And as I looked up, I just only saw Carmichael, so I was like, have to hit him.
Worst kick in the team. Here we go.
Oh, but he was actually a really good set shot. So when he took it, we were like, he'll probably kick this. Yeah, he'll kick this.
That's awesome. So. And that would have just been
going
that was the best. That was the best.
Yeah. I think that was probably one of the best wins I was part of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything after the siren is pretty special. Yeah,
and I don't think that was our first win for the year too, I'm pretty sure. And I remember, I think Richmond were up we were up. I think we were up at half time and then they hit the front at 3/4 time and they started to sing the song. And we were like, it's a bit arrogant.
Yeah.
And then we finally got them.
Yeah,
so, it was a bit arrogant by then. But I think they've changed since then.
That's awesome. No, that's sick. That's real good. And for all your coaches that you played for, who was your favourite? Who do you think you got the most out of?
I think you learn something from everyone.
Yep.
But, I don't know. I really liked Ross and Kenny.
Yep.
Probably my two.
Yep. Right. And in terms of your whole AFL career, is there anything that is there any regrets with it, or is there anything that you really wish you got to, or is is there parts of it you go, fuck, I wish that could have been different there, or anything like that, or? Obviously it's
hard.
It's in hindsight.
It is hindsight,
yeah, great,
and probably I don't really have any regrets. Probably looking back on it, going to a new club, we probably didn't have the higher standards or culture to go into. So we were running and starting our own culture.
Yep.
And
like you said, when you're an 18-year-old and you go over and you're living out of home for the first time,
exactly,
with not a lot of direction,
and we didn't really have many experienced sort of players. I think we only had like Gary Ablett, Nathan Bike, Richard Telly,
and I imagine that when they're coming from another team over as well, they're not probably hanging out with you lads as well.
It was
they've
hard.
Got their own thing going on.
They were really good. Like we stuck together, but it was just it was hard probably just to try and create something. I think when I moved to Freo, because it had a big history of 25 years or something. Yeah. It had a lot more behind it.
Yes,
and you just sort of just learn the way from them.
Of course,
so, it was a bit different, but that probably taught me more. I probably like my later years, I trained harder because I didn't really know what the standard sort of was.
Of course,
but no regrets.
No,
it was the best fun.
Yeah, no, it's I can imagine. Just like I could, and the other thing I could personally never do. I don't think is I don't know how you do it. Perform every week, and you're so critiqued on every single little bit that you've done. Yeah. The mental strength that you must have to actually be able to go, all right, get focused. I'm in the game. I'm doing my stuff and making sure you do all the things. Man, I'll be fucking
it was games. There's games where because you're sore as well. You're never 100% your body, but when you get out and you hear the crowd,
you're on.
You just the adrenaline goes through you. And
that's awesome.
You just want to be out there, and it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
But the mental side, it was hard because I played a lot of losses, so we were criticised quite a bit. But you read paper.
Yeah.
I was never I read the paper, but I only read the pictures.
Yeah.
I never read
I look good in that one.
So,
I'm in the background of that one.
So it was like, I never really read. Well, when Rocket come, he put up a lot of readings, like, this is how bad we are, we need to improve. So that's when we started probably getting a bit more serious with that. But it's a lot more that goes on in Perth than
definitely.
I think we'll probably page 10 in Gold Coast where we're here. On Perth, do back page, front page.
Yeah, exactly. And I imagine that when you first started, that's probably when sort of social media stuff really started. Really to pop off as well. And everybody's got a fucking opinion and everybody wants to comment something or mess it up, whatever. I imagine that would have just added a degree of difficulty that wasn't seen in the 10 years prior to that. It's all good for one. How many papers is there in Perth? There's 2 main papers in Perth. There's an article in one of those, no problem. You know what I mean? But when it's criticism from...
this would be paid people straight off the game. You get Instagram.
Oh, man.
Just give the old thumbs up too.
I know. Well, the problem with fucking social media stuff and everything is it's great that it gives everyone a voice, but it also gives everybody a voice for stuff that they either don't know anything about or they don't need to have an opinion about. And, previously I heard this on another podcast, you'd only be hearing about people that are doing things. So like yourself that are out there doing the stuff, or other coaches that are doing it with you, you'd get that response. But now it's people that are sitting there doing fuck all that are also having an opinion on whatever's going on.
It is hard. And
so you finished up on Freo's list 2020.
Yep.
2020.
That was
how did that go? Were you sort of were you pretty cut with that, or do you think, or just sort of was the writing on the walls with it, or how did you feel?
Yeah, I just sort of feel it coming. I think it was about halfway through the year because it was a hard year too because it was the COVID year. So we went over to the Gold Coast. Everything was pretty good over there. It was the second trip going into Cairns. I sort of knew before going into Cairns. I thought it was on the chopping block.
Yep.
So we played. I think we played against GWS or.
And
Sydney
I imagine it's
here.
so hard to perform then when you kind of know that. Yeah. When you've got that feeling of it as well.
It was, yeah. And I remember, I think it was one game we played here. I think it was GWS, and was
this Ross or was this JL?
JL, JL then. And then I thought I went all right in the reserves game, and our team got beaten. So I was like, it'd be a pretty good chance to play next week. And then didn't even get talking to, and then you start walking through the halls, and you don't even get the how you going, mate? It was just shit. There's something going on here. Yeah. And then after that, I think the week later they actually cut four blokes. I'm pretty sure 4 or 5 blokes. And then
you were thinking, maybe I'm...
Or maybe all right. So I went and asked, JL, and Belly, how am I going? My chance to play this week. He's like, mate, you're next in. You're like... So we flew over to Cairns, and flew to Gold Coast first, and we played Richmond, and I think we got smashed.
Yep.
And I don't think the forwards played too well, and I kicked 6 in the first scratch match, so I was like, chance to play here. Yeah. And then just didn't get talking to us. So I was like, it's done. I don't know why they brought me to Cairns for.
Yeah.
So I knew straight away. But it is hard when they actually tell you, when they sit you down. Because we were in quarantine on the way when we got back. So I think it was the Friday of the first week. And I had to go see the doctor, do your medicals. And when I got in, they're like, JL and Belly want to have a chat to you. I was like, here we go. Yeah. So you can't really say much. Like, they've already made their mind up. So you've got no case to say. So I just thanks, and out you go. And don't hear from them again.
And then there was, it's such a blunt.
Yeah, it is.
And it's over like this.
That's it. So don't get a phone call, no nothing.
Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, professional sport, it's wild. Yeah. And then when you were delisted and didn't get a follow-up contract from Freo, I remember because you came back, we did a bit of training because you were thinking that maybe there was some chat with Essendon or something like that.
There's a few other clubs were talks, but...
Yeah. I never even asked you about that, even when we were training. I just was not.
Yeah, no, there was a few clubs the managers were talking, but it was hard because the COVID stuff was going through, the salary caps and the short of the list. So I sort of got a hint of it that it wasn't going to pursue that at an AFL. So Subi come to me
and that was my next one. Then you landed in Subi, and because you were playing for Souths before, and was that like a bit of was that hard to?
It was hard because Dad's one-eyed South man.
But your brother Bailey, he's at Subi and has played for Subi for a little while as well.
So he got traded to, I think he left South 3 years before I got there. So he was going into his 4th year at Subi.
Yep.
And I said to him, when I finish footy, let's just play footy together.
Yeah, it'd be sick. So that would have been the first time that you guys actually played together as well, which is fucking crazy, So
I remember telling Dad's like, just do what you want. I'm not going to hold it. He goes, it'd be better going to 1 game than 2 games. So
exactly.
It was good. So he's been pretty good about it. It was hard telling South, so I like it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I imagine they would have been a big supporter of you all the way through as well.
Yeah, they were.
And you have all that family ties with South as well. So, definitely. But then you landed yourself at Subi.
Yeah.
You're playing with Bailey.
Yeah.
And you guys fucking win the flag
We
last
won it,
year,
I
which is
It was
incredible.
unreal. It was like, so yeah, and it's pulled me back this year because I thought I'd only go maybe the one. Or
yeah, because I remember you saying you went, "Oh, I've got one more in me," and even sort of, I think it was actually the week. It was the week before you.
Yeah,
you finally
went back to the pre-season. I was like, I'm not fucking doing it.
And you're like, "Oh, this is my last one." Blah blah blah. And then, yeah, you're telling me today, "No, we're back here. We're doing it." Again,
it's a good bunch of boys, and they're a very tight knit group.
Yep.
Unbelievable culture. Yeah, it's just so much fun down there.
And it adds another element playing with your brother as well,
Exactly,
I imagine.
yeah.
It's a lot of fun. And also when the team had great success and you're part of that, fantastic.
And it brought, like I said, my last year at Freo was halfway through the year.
It was hard.
It was hard, and you sort of lose the fun of it.
Yeah.
And
it brought that fun back.
And it brought it back.
Oh, that's good.
So it was good fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so you're playing again this year. Your pre-season's going all pretty well.
It's been up and down. Just had a calf, so hopefully I'll be back.
Your fucking pesky calf, honestly,
shocking.
mate.
It's been,
they are big, juicy calves, though. So
I don't understand how I can do it.
Man, the good thing about my calves, I've hardly got a calf muscle, so never ever have a calf problem ever, which is sort
shocking.
of nice.
They've only just really come on the last 2 years, so. But yeah, I should be back out there late next week, or hopefully the last pracky match.
Yeah, and then your celebrations from the grand final. How did that sort of kick on?
That was a big week, actually.
Big week? Yeah.
What did we do? We went first. Next day was the Mad Monday, but we did it Silly Sunday.
Yep.
So we did Silly Sunday,
which turned into
Look Out.
That
was a big day. Bowie was probably best on the coach. He
was he?
unreal, yeah.
Yeah, wicked. Nice.
He used a Ferrari shirt. He was going around.
Beautiful. Great.
Yeah, it was a big week. So then Monday we were at Sandbar all day again. Tuesday was Steve's Bar in Netherlands. Wednesday, I think I had Wednesday off.
Yep.
Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, you would need, yeah. No, they were right off.
Wednesday we
those 2
did a
days.
dinner, actually. Wednesday we did a
nothing
dinner
in
at
for those
Ilchow. Thursday off. Friday, best and fairest. And Saturday, I think we went races and somewhere else. So
Beautiful.
It was a big week of celebration.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good fun. That's real good. And so transitioning from footy and sort of now you're playing for Souths and doing it sort of semi-professionally now. Oh, sorry. What am I saying? Sorry, Subi, playing it semi-professionally now. What else are you doing in terms of work and everything as well? We were just talking before, which is a new business that you've just started.
So me and my mate started up a business last year, just under a year, I think it was. And he ran a successful building and maintenance business. So I've partnered up with him. We started an Indigenous business, Yadara Group. So we're just starting to get some flow now.
Fantastic. And Yadara is the primary school that we both went to as well.
So
and what's that mean?
It was it was funny enough. We're looking for a name for the business, and we wanted to use an Indigenous name, and in the Noongar word was Yadara, and it's the mean of in the act of going forward. So it's like it's us, and it's where we went to school. So
mate, I've had it on a shirt since I was 6 years old. Yeah.
So it's been fun the last couple of months. Like I said, getting some traction now, and
wicked. No, it's good. And you're really into your racing as well. So you own a few horses. You're always down the races. So what horses do you own at the minute? It's a Ray Day?
It's a Ray Day, yeah. He's
and that's with a bunch of the Freo boys.
That's with the Freo boys. No, that's with Blake and his mate Marky.
Oh, yep.
And then it's got a few cricketers, Sean, the Marsh boys, and Josh Philippe.
Yeah.
And then we've got...
Did you own, just on cricket as well, did you own part share of a horse with Shane Warne?
That's what I say, Sacred Oath.
Yeah. So that's that horse.
That's that horse. So we're with Warney. And
did you ever meet Shane Warne?
No, it was actually pretty funny because when it was not funny because...
Poor bloke, honestly. I was devastated, man.
It's the night we found out we're having a girl, like our gender reveal.
Yeah.
And we're driving home, dropped that off, and next week he started calling. 10:39. What's he calling for? And he's like, put it on the news. Shane Warne's just passed away.
Oh.
Yeah, and we're like, just like, heart just sunk.
I was at that wedding a few weeks ago. Remember the wedding that was on my cousin's wedding? Yeah. That day of. And it's sort of like you remember where you were when you heard it. Hey, it's
and all this past week, I've literally just watched movies and podcasts,
highlights and everything of
interviews and everything. So it's a huge hole he's left behind.
Yeah. So what's that horse?
So that's Sacred Oath.
Yep.
And we've got about, I think it's 8 of us, 3 our boys in that, and we used to joke around because myself and sorry about that, Trent McKenzie and Joe Grant, we had one hollaback girl when we were living on the
I remember seeing that on your stories.
So
and stuff,
we sold that and we bought into Sacred Oath, and so we bought into that. And there was about 7 or 10% left in the horse, and I was like to the Freo boys, I should buy into it because I'd moved over here then. And I was like, you should buy into this horse. It's apparently pretty good. Shane Wood's in it.
Yeah.
We'll get maybe
That
we'll
was
get to go to his. And
that was the real ticket.
I got already 4 or 5 of the boys over the line just because I said that. It was pretty funny. It was one of the selling points when I got him in. To say,
And it just unfortunately never got to eventuate.
But that horse is just had its second start, and it was a bit unlucky. It raced 2 days or 3 days after his passing, and it hit the running rail, got cut off, and lost the jockey. So he's off for a spell now. I think he'll be back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, cool. So there's a 3 that you're...
Yeah, so I've got that It's a Ray, Sacred Oath. I've just come out of Mankind and Count the Sessions. So I've just got the 2 going around now.
Yeah, sweet. And are you involved in any of the aspect of the training side of it, or are you purely just there to drink piss on the day up in the box? Yeah.
I really
and wave to me down the bottom there. I try to sneak me under the little rope thing.
I do enjoy the training side of it. I get on well with Simon Miller, so when I see him at the track, I get to ask him all the questions and all that. And Hayden Ballantyne, being a horse trainer now, early on I used to go down and check him out and watch him ride the horses, and it's good fun. I'd love to have more to do with it, but at the moment...
I'm sure they could get you down the stables, grooming them and brushing the hair. And
I don't know.
Picking up the horse shit. You could be one of those big poopy
I could see myself becoming a trainer, but I think it'd be a few years. I just enjoy going to the races, being around mates, and I just love the animal, really. The horse, so.
Yeah, awesome. Well, mate, that is everything I've wanted to ask you, and thanks so much for coming on. But seriously, early days when we started training, everything that really did give me a massive boost and sort of got me to points where I am today with all my stuff. So I really appreciate it, and you've always been a big cheerleader of mine, and sort of done lots for me, mate. So really appreciate it. Yeah. Good luck with the new business. Good luck with the horses. Good luck on the new family, and thanks so much for coming in. We'll have to do it again.
Thanks,
big man. Too good. That is episode 2 of Potty Madge, all wrapped up. Brandon Matera, you absolute fucking legend for coming in and doing that with me. Thank you very, very much. And thank you all fucking legends for listening as well. If you like the episode, if you could subscribe to my Spotify channel, if you could like the episode, share it. Share anything I put on Insta about it. Even just tell your mates about it would be greatly appreciated. I can't wait to bring you even more guests over the next few weeks. Have a great rest of your day. Fucking love your work, and I'll see you next time.